calm surrender to the rush of day.
Hello and welcome to Nerd Central Continued, Nerd Central's pseudo after show. Let's go straight to the next installments of Force Feeding, Behind the Magic, and Flight 828.
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
I'm KNWT, and I love Star Wars. But as I wander through life, I notice there are too many people who haven't seen all of the Star Wars. So, for the next 11 weeks, I'm going to recap and analyze every film and then rank them from best to worst. Whether you like it or not, this is Force Feeding. While last week I somewhat defended The Phantom Menace because it really does have a bunch of redeemable qualities, the same cannot be said with Attack of the Clones. So let's look at that thick boy of a plot. Taking place 10 years after The Phantom Menace, we open with the death of Senator Padme Amidala. Psych! It was just a bodyguard. Teenage Anakin and Jesus Obi-Wan are appointed to protect her from then on out. Anakin says some creepy stuff to her.
My goodness, you've grown.
So have you. Grown more beautiful, I mean. Well, for a senator, I mean.
Oh no, she almost died again. Obi shows how young and reckless he can be, and the Jedi give chase. The assassin is killed with a poisoned dart, and he takes Padme to Naboo to try and flirt some more. And curse this movie for making preteen Cody think that this is how people flirt.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
Obi's investigations lead him to a cloning facility on a planet called Kamino. Turns out an army is being made for the Republic, but oh no, he finds the bounty hunter named Jango Fett, and he's the one trying to kill Padme. Obi pursues him to Geonosis. Anakin is having bad dreams about his mommy dying, so they go to Tatooine to try and save her. Oh no, they were too late. The Tusken Raiders killed her, so Anakin proceeds to kill not just the men, but the women and the children too. Back on Geonosis, Obi-Wan is kidnapped by Count Dooku. Anakin and Padme go to rescue him. They don't do a good job, and get captured too. The trio are to be executed in an arena. Surprise, Mace Windu and all the Jedi and the clones are here to save them, and cut off Jango Fett's head. Obi-Wan and Anakin fail fighting Count Dooku, resulting in loss of limb for Anakin. Yoda comes and saves them, Dooku gets away, Anakin and Padme get married, the end. Alright, that's the plot. Now let's talk about love. This is one of the worst love stories ever put to screen. Anakin and Padme have no chemistry, possibly because Natalie Portman's actually a good actress, and Hayden Christensen not so much. This film has birthed us many great memes, and for that, I am thankful. But other than that, there's nothing really going for it, aside from some cool aesthetics from the different worlds. I really like the constant storms and crashing waves of Kamino, mixed with the clean and bright interior of the buildings. It really creates a good contrast and works as a good metaphor for the darkness surrounding the light side of the Force. The bug-like design of the Geonosians were really good too. I just wish that there were a few more of them implemented throughout the plot to give us a break from just killing droids. But the negatives are just devastating to the film. So much of it's shot on blue screen that when an actual practical effect is used, it looks extremely out of place and very strange. Also, fight choreography has taken a big step down from its amazingness in Phantom Menace. I understand that Christopher Lee is kinda old and not the surprise to people, but I would rather take Jason Bourne style action than the weird rave party lightsaber fight that we got. It says a lot about how boring and bad the film can get when one of my very few pros is that it makes a lot of memes. Attack of the Clones is much worse than Phantom Menace in almost every way, and goes at the bottom of the list for now at number 2, keeping Phantom Menace at number 1. Will it stay there though? Find out next week when we look at Revenge of the Sith on Force Feeding.
Hello and welcome to Behind the Magic. My name is Raylyn, and last episode we soared through the production of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. This episode, we take a closer look at the next installment, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Let's get started. The production of the film started on November 19th, 2001, just 3 days after The Sorcerer's Stone was released in theaters. Since the first film had already introduced the magical world of Hogwarts and the characters, Chris Columbus wanted to spend more time this round with the special effects. And in fact, the first 3 weeks of filming were dedicated just to special effects, with most of it tackling the flying car scene. Other special effects included the creatures of the film. Dobby, the house elf to the Malfoys, was CGI. The production team created a look-like sculpture to put in scenes so the actors could get an understanding of where he would be during the filming. And then in post-production, Toby Jones would voice Dobby and then put in notes about how Dobby would move for the particular scene. Aragog, the companion of Hagrid, was actually an animatronic character. The spider was 9 feet tall, had an 18-foot leg span, and weighed about 3/4 of a ton. Tonks was also animatronic for some scenes, and was so realistic that Harris even believed it was real at first. The last beast to tackle was the Basilisk. This character was half animatronic and half CGI. The body of the Basilisk was completely CGI. As for the head, Columbus wanted a creature that Radcliffe could actually interact with, since ultimately he stabs the beast in the head. Most would believe that animatronics was a big waste of time when you have CGI, but in fact CGI costed them about $100,000 per shot, while animatronics only costed them about $30,000. They also took time to improve the flying scenes. For this film, they actually moved the brooms instead of it just being stationary like they did with the last film. Along with this film, we also got our first glimpse of the Burrow and Dumbledore's office. In order to have the Burrow, the home of the Weasleys, look like it was falling apart, they built the house with none of the walls at a right angle and then removed the support beams. Dumbledore's office was an interesting one to decorate. The set designers bounded hundreds of British phone books to look like older books, and there was 48 portraits in total on the walls. Columbus also aimed for this film to be much darker and have more adventure. In order to achieve this, they played with lighting and shadows to have more of a contrast, and also used handheld cameras to be able to have more movement in their scenes. After less than a year of production, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets was released in theaters on November 15th, 2002. The film grossed $879 million and was the second highest grossing film of 2002. And that is a look into the magic that went into the Chamber of Secrets. Join me next week as we keep moving forward with Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. My name is Raylyn, and this is Behind the Magic.
Welcome back to episode 2 of Flight 828. I'm your host, Lauren Adams. This week, I will discuss the highlights of episode 2 of Manifest and my new theories on what happened. The second episode begins at the airport. NSA Director Vance tells the passengers that showed up to the plane explosion that they can't tell anyone about the information surrounding the flight. Ben hears violin music in his head that gets louder. He finds Rad, who is playing the same music. Rad's son got arrested for stealing. Rad isn't able to see him and needs Ben's help. Michaela pulls some strings and is able to let Rad see his son. Audio. Audio has been accused of robbing the jewelry store he worked for. Grace and Cal are walking through Times Square when a woman grabs Cal and says he is not here, he is risen. Kelly, a woman who is also on the flight, goes on the news to talk about her theory on what happened. Cal draws a picture of their family, but he draws a shadow figure standing behind him. After this, the same shadow is seen following Kelly. Cal is sad that all of his stuff is gone, so Olive takes Ben to a storage unit. She said that she felt Cal still alive while he was gone, and she wanted to save all their stuff. Then, Ben hears the violin music again. He follows the music and finds the jeweler's son with all of the stolen jewelry. Audio is then released from jail. At the end of the episode, the shadow figure appears behind Kelly and kills her. My theory is still that this is an act of God, but I also believe that the government is trying to cover it up so they don't get blamed for it. The shadow has to be a government worker since the woman from the plane spoke out and the government is trying to hide everything. Who else would want to kill this woman? She is a living miracle, and you'd think that people would want to study her. Also, God wouldn't send someone to kill a human. Another sign of God appears with a biblical reference. The woman who came up to Cal was referencing Matthew chapter 28, verse 6, which is talking about Jesus' resurrection. Could Cal be a new savior resurrected from the flight just like Jesus was resurrected from the tomb? Or is this lady just fascinated that he came back alive even with leukemia? Cal's the only one who knows about the shadow figure, which is why he drew it. Could he be warning the other passengers of impending doom? My last theory is that maybe these passengers are now angels. They all get the callings which connect them and so far have created some good. The plane exploding in the last episode could have been a sign, meaning that the callings are real and God is to blame. I also believe that this is why Olive still felt Cal alive. If Cal became an angel, he would have had ways to still connect with her without being in physical form. This connection could also make them mentally stronger than the other passengers, which could lead to some great discoveries. Join me next week as I explore Episode 3 and new theories. I'm Lauren, and this has been Flight 828.
Thanks, guys. That's going to do it from Nerd Central Continued. You can check out all of the episodes of Nerd Central Continued, and all of the other KNWT shows by clicking right over here. Plus, you can check out this week's Nerd Central right here. See you next week.